Live? Looks like we are live. Good evening. This is a special Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, August 17th, 2020, commencing at 6:30 p.m. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. As usual in the Zoom meeting, I'm going to remind everyone with a fixed camera to remain seating so that we don't just see your pants. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God, with liberty and justice for all. We don't have it on the agenda for some reason, but we're going to start with public comment, as we always do. The first public comment that we have is from Josh Goodman. It is Ray Villanova letter, resignation. Dear Commissioners, you may have read Mr. Farhi's letter to Father Peter, President of Villanova University, requiring his resignation. I believe this to be a very inappropriate use of his position as Commissioner. This is not the first time Mr. Farhi has acted impulsively and erratically. Villanova has dispersed their students from the alleged activity, and very few were not wearing masks, and Father Peter warned students not complying with directives would be sent home. Furthermore, this is another example of Mr. Farhi antagonizing an institution of learning that supports our community economically and stabilizes culture. At a minimum, the board should send a formal apology to Father Peter and investigate any other actions Mr. Farhi has taken against the university and determine if his own resignation is appropriate. Regards, Josh Goodwin, Lewis Lane. There's a meeting from Luisa Ramondo, the subject of which is, I can't see the meeting on YouTube. Is there a different link? I briefly responded to her saying no, we were just starting a little bit late. That is all that I have for public comment, so I'll move on to resolution number 2020-93, engage Gannett Fleming for emergency Valley Creek stream bank stabilization, design and permitting at 790 Robin Hood Road for the not to exceed price of $145,000. I will so move. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any commissioner comment?
So we discussed this at our last meeting, and there was an alternative suggestion made. I believe that at this point, Mr. Nocini has provided us and Mr. Phillips some more detailed information about the project. This is definitely an emergency project. I think it is warranted. And I want to thank the staff for identifying some grant funds that we could use to potentially do the full project once that is, if we decide to move in that direction once we have decided what that's going to be. But I think in this moment, this is just, to do design work with a not to exceed of $145,000. And I think no matter what, we need to do something there. And this is a failed project of the township from however many years ago, and it is our responsibility to make appropriate repairs and stabilize the area for the future.
I'll just say real quick, I drove by it. The area is a disaster. Part of Ward 7 is in Robin Hood Lane. Steve Norsini, you put together a spreadsheet or a list of, cost, and I think that spelled it out pretty clearly to me. So thank you very much for that, and I will be voting in favor of this.
Is there any additional commissioner comment? Is there any staff comment? We do have public. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just, I just circling back around. I think Steve did a really good job on Monday night explaining the project in terms of both the emergency work that's happening there now and then what the long-term or more permanent solution might look like. So what's in front of you tonight is the engineering necessary for the permanent solution. We vetted out some of the questions that were raised last Monday night. And so that's why this meeting was called. And given the emergency nature that Commissioner Borowski pointed out, we're looking to get this moving as quickly as we can to try to get through the process and get the permanent solution installed as quickly as possible.
Okay. We do have,
Can I just ask one question? There was something that I just wasn't clear about after the last meeting, and maybe Mr. Norsini, you could answer this. When was the last time that the township built up the site and tried to correct the issue?
So this was a 2001 project. This was completed in 2001. And the Ramondos alerted me to the situation pre-tropical storm where their bank was eroding towards their house. So it seems to be a timing issue. Last Monday, I was actually, had requested to have in front of you a proposal from Gannett Fleming to design a new wall. Well, tropical storm came in and basically wiped out the majority of what was already constructed. So it changed from a project that we were going to do, based on a resident reaching out to me, bringing in Gannett Fleming, providing the plans from the old project, to now it's become an emergency. So that's how we were alerted to it.
And is there any difference in this current project that we're looking to do that would ensure that it lives longer than 10 years?
That's a great question. And yes, so the options in the memo, there's 145, and that's if we feel, if feasible, the best way to do this would be to extend the pipe from under Robin Hood Road and extend it beyond their house. So that's the 145. If in that beginning portion, we find out that that's not feasible, we go to the other proposal from Gannett Fleming for $100,000 to install walls. And if that's the case, it will be very robust. The walls will go well past the house. We're actually going to probably do some on the other side of the creek because we found an exposed sewer, sanitary sewer. So either way, we're going to come up with a very good solution to protect our resident.
Thank you. I guess an additional question. Are there other houses but this one that would be in danger if this work was not done?
This is the one with the most immediate. When the tropical storm eroded away, if you look in the one picture, so the whole side of their house was exposed almost down to the foundation. So no, they're the ones who have incurred the damage from that storm.
Steve, just quickly, will this protect that exposed to protect that exposed sanitary sewer line as well?
Yes, that'll be part of the next project.
Which is definitely a liability. We know what happens when exposed sanitary sewer pipes get ruptured across creeks, right?
Yes, we do.
Not fun.
okay. I will read the public comment that we have on this, which is from Luisa Ramondo. Her subject is Forward Robin Hood Road / Valley Run Project. Dear Board of Commissioners, as you are all aware, we have a major problem on our hands due to the faulty culvert project that was completed by Radnor Township in 2001. We can't thank you enough for approving the temporary project that is currently being completed to save our home. I would like to start my comments by saying we are much more than, quote, residents, quote, homeowners, and, quote, property owners. We are people, a family, and Radnor residents. This issue is not related to a lot, a house, or a creek. It is related to our home and our family. We purchased our home in August of 2002, raised 3 boys in the Radnor school system, and have been very involved within our community. 2 of our boys are still at RHS. We love Radnor and take pride in our schools, community, and fellow residents within our wonderful township. To listen to the board make mention of condemning our beautiful home and offering us a, quote, buyout was absolutely heartbreaking on Monday. As mentioned above, we purchased this home in August of 2002, roughly 1 year after the Robin Hood Road / Valley Run culvert project was completed. Once we moved in and got settled into our new surroundings, we noticed 2 things as it relates to Valley Run and the culvert project. 1, the mouth of the culvert was aiming directly at our home. 2, the gabion walls were installed from the culvert down to the corner of our home, meaning they were protecting the bank near our driveway, but they were not protecting our home. At the time we contacted our 4th Ward Commissioner, Enrique Herbada, and stated our concern with the construction and placement of the gabion walls. We asked Mr. Ravada why the gabions stopped before the end of our home, especially because the mouth of the culvert was aiming directly towards it. We requested that 4 more gabions blocks be installed along the current gabion structure to protect the bank along our home and our home as a whole. We were told that the project went over budget, that there were no additional dollars available to do something like this, and that it would be near impossible to get a permit from the DEP on our own. Since there were no immediate issues and the erosion had not begun, we left the matter alone and monitored the erosion on the bank and the stability of the gabion walls and the bank itself. We were then in contact with the township engineer, Dan Malloy, and told that the structure was stable and there was nothing that needed to be done. It wasn't until the end of 2019 or beginning of 2020 that we started to see significant erosion directly past the last stack of gabion blocks moving away from Robin Hood Road, which was right next to our foundation. We immediately contacted Radnor Township and our township engineer, Steve Norsini. Mr. Norsini promptly came to investigate the erosion issue. The first thing that Mr. Norsini said was that he didn't understand why the township installed gabion walls versus solid block. He said that the gabion cages have a tendency to corrode and fail, which is why he preferred to install solid blocks when dealing with a project like this one. He also stated that this was going to become a bigger issue if not addressed, not only to protect our air conditioning unit, but to protect the structural integrity of our home. During the 6/22/2020 and 8/10/2020 Board of Commissioners meetings, Mr. Norsini echoed his professional view on the gabion walls and clearly stated that culvert was aiming directly at our home. During the Radnor Township Board of Commissioners meetings on 6/22/20 and 8/10/20, it was stated that this project is only protecting our home at 790 Robin Hood Road _, which is inaccurate. The property on the other side of the creek at 786 Robin Hood is also in jeopardy, as the stone retaining wall that was protecting the bank on their side of the creek, as well as a large sewage pipe, has fallen into the creek. The erosion has begun to damage their property as well. The temporary work that is currently being done is being done on both sides of the creek as to shore up both properties. So this failed culvert project is now negatively affecting, at a minimum, 2 Radnor families, pictures attached. We as a family are not asking Radnor Township to rectify a problem that was created by us, the homeowner, or anyone before us. We're asking Radnor Township and the Board of Commissioners to rectify a problem that was created when Radnor Township approved and completed the Robin Hood Road / Valley Run Culvert project. The faulty project has jeopardized the lives of our family, our financial stability, and the structural integrity of our home. Please vote in favor of continuing this project in an effort to protect our home, our family, and our lives. Sincerely, the Raimondo family, Damien, Louisa, Luke, Damien, and Jordan. 790 Robin Hood Road, Bryn Mawr, PA, 19010. Follows are photographs of the creek and erosion, along with a photograph of the house, a second photograph of the creek with what looks like temporary piping coming out of it, and a toolbox. I have no additional public comment, so I will call the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no nays, the vote passes unanimously, 4-0, with Commissioners Enderle, Abel, and Booker unable to be present today. I will now move on to the final public comments. And we have no additional public comments, so I will move for adjournment.
No moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed nay. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everyone,
Thanks,
for your time tonight.
everyone.